Welcome to today's lesson in physics. Today we are continuing with Rutherford model of atom. We have already discussed Rutherford model of atom. According to Rutherford model, we have nucleus at the center of the atom, which consists of all the positive charge and almost all the mass. And the electrons are revolving around the nucleus in circular paths called orbits. The atom remains electrically neutral since the amount of positive charge is equal to amount of negative charge, and the size of the nucleus is very small in comparison to the size of the atom. These were the main assumptions from the Rutherford model of atom. Now let's discuss what about the velocity of the electrons in a particular orbit. When the electron revolves around the nucleus in circular orbits, the required centripetal force is provided by the electrostatic force of attraction between the electrons and the nucleus. So in the case of the most simple atom, that means hydrogen atom, we know in the case of hydrogen atom, inside the nucleus there is only one proton, and outside the nucleus we have one electron. So in such a case, we can write the expression for the electrostatic force of attraction between the nucleus and the electron, and that electrostatic force of attraction will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 E square by R square, because both the nucleus and the revolving electron, their charge is same. And since this force provides the required centripetal force, we can write mv square by r is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 E square by R square, where mv square by r is the centripetal force. So rearranging the equation, we get an expression for radius of the path or radius of the electron as r is equal to E square divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 mv square. We can rearrange this equation to get an expression for V. Now let's find total energy of an electron in an orbit. The kinetic energy and electrostatic potential energy of the electron in the hydrogen atom, we can write them as K, that is the kinetic energy, half mv square. From the previous expression, that is this expression, mv square by r equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 E square by R square. Rearranging this equation, we can write the expression for half mv square, and we get it as E square divided by 8 pi epsilon 0 R. And we know the electrostatic potential energy between the hydrogen nucleus and the electron. It is minus E square divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 R, where we applied the equation Q1 Q2 divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 R12, the equation which we studied in electrostatics. So these are the expression for kinetic energy and potential energy. Therefore, the total energy of the electron will be the sum of this kinetic energy and potential energy. That means E square divided by 8 pi epsilon 0 R minus E square divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 R. By solving this or simplifying this, we will get minus E square divided by 8 epsilon 0 R. So that is the expression for total energy of the electron in hydrogen atom. And the negative sign, it shows that the electron is bound to the nucleus. So it is a point to be noted. For in a particular system, if the total energy is negative, it means that it is a bound system. Here bound system means electron is attracted to the nucleus. If it is otherwise, it means that it is a repulsive system. Okay, and one more point here we have to conclude. We will just compare the magnitudes of kinetic energy, potential energy and total energy. Just take the magnitudes of total energy and kinetic energy. Both of them are same. So total energy and kinetic energy, they have the same magnitude. And potential energy, it is twice the total energy. Total energy, it is minus E square by 8 pi epsilon 0, and potential energy is minus E square by 4 pi epsilon 0. So we can write total energy is twice, or total energy is half the potential energy. That means magnitude of total energy is the same as kinetic energy. Both of them are equal, and we can write total energy is half of potential energy. So total energy is half of potential energy. Now we have an example from the textbook, example 12.3. It is found experimentally that 13.6 electron volt energy is required to separate a hydrogen atom into proton and electron. Compute the orbital radius and the velocity of the electron in a hydrogen atom. So it's given 13.6 electron volt energy is required to separate the hydrogen atom into proton and electron. So that is the total energy of the system. So we can write total energy of the electron in the hydrogen atom. It is minus 13.6. Because it's given to dissociate it, we require 13.6 electron volts. So the system has just opposite of that energy, that is minus 13.6. That is how we have that negative sign there. So converting electron volt to joule, we have minus 2.2 into 10 raised to minus 18 joule. Now using the expression for total energy, we will get radius, orbital radius. Just equate the expression for total energy, that is minus E square by 8 pi epsilon 0 r, with the given value. So by equating and rearranging, we have r is equal to minus E square by 8 pi epsilon 0 into total energy. Substituting the values and doing the calculation, we'll have 5.3 into 10 raised to minus 11 meter. And the velocity of the revolving electron can be computed using the equation V is equal to E divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 into m into r. Substituting the values, we will get the velocity as 2.2 into 10 raised to 6 meter per second. There we have m is equal to mass of the electron, that is 9.1 into 10 raised to minus 31 kilogram, and radius we already got, that is 5.3 into 10 raised to minus 11. E as usual 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19. Now we discuss the types of spectra. So I just mentioned about the spectral studies which were going on in other branch of physics. So there were two types of spectra which were already observed. They are line emission spectrum and the absorption spectrum. What do you mean by emission spectrum? When an atomic gas or vapor, when it is excited at low pressure, so pressure is low, by passing an electric current or by any method, the emitted radiation has a spectrum which contains certain specific wavelength. So only certain wavelengths will be there in that particular spectrum. Such spectrum can be photographed actually, and that from that photographs or the photograph of such spectra, it shows that it has some bright lines in the dark background, and such a spectrum is called as emission spectrum. So we will take the sample in the form of vapor, and we are giving energy so that that system is in an excited state. So when that system emits radiation, that radiation we will examine, or we will photograph the radiation or the spectrum of radiation emitted by that system, and we see that that spectrum consists of some bright lines in the dark background. Such a system or such a spectrum we call as emission spectrum. And for different elements, it is observed that we have line spectrum. Emission spectrum are in the form of lines. You can see the line emission spectrum of hydrogen atom, which is shown in the picture. Similarly, another type of spectrum is there which is called as absorption spectrum. What is meant by absorption spectrum? It is this: when white light passes through a gas. White light means it has got several colors, that means several wavelengths are there, and we analyze the transmitted light. So a group of wavelength or a group of frequencies, it is fed to a system, and the outcoming light is analyzed through a spectrometer. So it is seen that we can observe some dark lines in the spectrum. So incoming light or incoming rays were having many wavelength or many frequencies, and when the light comes out of the system, we can see that there are some dark lines which shows that those particular wavelength or those particular frequencies were absorbed by this particular system through which the waves were passing through. And the spectrum which has such dark lines, that spectrum is known as absorption spectrum. And it is observed that these particular lines which are dark, the dark lines, they have the same wavelength as shown by the emission line spectrum of that particular system. So what emission line spectrum we have for a particular element, the same lines will be seen as dark lines in the absorption spectrum. So these two types of spectra were observed at the time when Rutherford model was introduced, and the main observation was this, that is, these spectra were in the form of lines, line spectra. Whether it is emission spectrum or absorption spectrum, they were found in the form of lines. And the series of an element which was studied in serious manner, it was hydrogen. So first spectral studies were conducted in the case of the element hydrogen, and it was observed that in the case of hydrogen there were several spectral lines. You can see here there were several spectral lines, and these spectral lines, at a sight we will not see any relation among them. The wavelength and all, there were no relations among them. But when scientists, they were studying these spectral lines of hydrogen seriously, they observed that there were different sets of or different groups of spectral lines among this many number of lines. You can see in this picture there are many lines. Okay, so from this we can take different sets of spectral lines which has got a relation among them. That means their wavelengths, the wavelengths increases or decreases in a particular order. That we can see among different sets. So different sets were there. So these different sets of spectral series which has got particular relation among their wavelengths, such spectral series, that's what we call as spectral series. These group of lines, that's what we call as spectral series. And in the case of hydrogen, the first spectral series which was observed is called as Balmer series. So Balmer series was the first spectral series which was observed for hydrogen. And what is the peculiarity of Balmer series? All the spectral lines in the Balmer series, they belong to visible region. Visible region means we can see them, that means VIBGYOR in those colors, violet, indigo, blue, like that in different colors we can see those spectral lines. So Balmer series was the first observed spectral series, that is in the case of hydrogen. Okay, and this Balmer, along after the discovery of Balmer, there were several other spectral series too, called as Lyman series, Paschen series, Brackett series, Pfund series, etc. So altogether there are 5 spectral series for hydrogen atom. Now coming back to Balmer series, so as I said, it was the first spectral series observed, and Balmer, without knowing any theory suitable for these spectral lines, he made one equation. Usually equations we get from theory, Newton's law, F equal to ma, and all such equations are derived from the theory, from the laws. Here, Balmer did the reverse from the experimental observation. So, he was studying the spectral lines of hydrogen in the visible region, and he found a relation, mathematical relation among the wavelengths of these lines. So, this particular picture shows Balmer series, and these are different wavelengths in Balmer series. They are called like H alpha, beta, H gamma, H delta, like that it is given. The wavelengths are given. Okay, so he found out one mathematical relation among the wavelengths of these particular spectral lines. Such a relation we call as empirical relation. So the relations, mathematical relations which are derived from experimental observations or experimental values, such relations are called as empirical formulas. So this Balmer, he discovered or he introduced a formula befitting his experimental observations, and that formula was this. So that's what we call as the empirical formula, and that formula is 1 by lambda equal to R into, in bracket we have 1 by 2 square minus 1 by n square, where n can take values like 3, 4, 5, etc. And this R, capital letter R, is a constant called Rydberg constant, and its value is 1.097 into 10 raised to 7 per meter. And lambda, that is wavelength. So the wavelengths in this spectral series, they are related as per this relation, this equation, and this equation is called as empirical formula. Like Balmer series, other spectral series of hydrogen also were discovered, which were known after their discoverers, like Lyman series, which comes in the ultraviolet region, and Paschen, Brackett and Pfund series, which come in infrared region. The empirical relations for those spectral series were also discovered, like 1 by lambda equal to R into 1 by 1 square minus 1 by n square, that is for Lyman series. And for Paschen series, it was observed as 1 by lambda equal to R into 1 by 3 square minus 1 by n square, where n can take values like 4, 5, 6, etc. Then for Brackett series and Pfund series also, empirical formulae were discovered. So these formulae, they don't have any theoretical background or theoretical support. So actually, when an atomic theory came, or when the structure of atom was explained by Rutherford, naturally the questions will arise regarding this spectral lines or the spectral studies of hydrogen and like that other elements. So this Rutherford theory should be able to, if the Rutherford model of atom is the correct one, the correct model, it should be able to explain the occurrence of line spectrum, the emission line spectrum and absorption line spectrum, which were observed. But Rutherford model couldn't explain such a spectrum. The line spectrum, which is emission spectrum, and the absorption spectrum, it was not explained by Rutherford. Let's discuss the drawbacks of Rutherford model. We know Rutherford model, it explains the structure of atom in a very simple way, and the concept of nucleus also is the exact one. But the assumption that electron revolve around the nucleus in circular orbit, it has some mistakes. That means when an electron revolves around the nucleus, when it is revolving, it is having acceleration. So it becomes an accelerated electron, and you know, an accelerated charge, according to Maxwell's theory, an accelerated charge should emit radiation. Emitting radiation means this particular electron which is revolving around the nucleus, it should lose its energy. So the electron in the atom, it must continuously emit radiation and lose energy. And you know, because of this loss of energy, electron will continuously slowed down, and it will not be able to withstand the attraction of the nucleus. So it cannot withstand the attraction of the nucleus means finally the electron losing its all energy, it will fall into the nucleus. That means the electron collapse with the nucleus, and the calculation shows that it should happen within a time of 10 raised to minus 8 second. That means the atom should collapse in 10 raised to minus 8 second. That means according to Rutherford model, atom has no stability, but it is observed that atom is stable. Isn't it? Dalton's theory itself, it says that it is stable. Atom is stable. So that is the main drawback of Rutherford model. That means it couldn't explain the stability of atom. And from this argument itself, that means if the electron is continuously losing its energy, the theory of spectral studies, it shows that the spectrum emitted by such an element, it should be in the form of continuous band structure. That means instead of discrete line spectrum, so we already said that we already observed, experimentally observed emission line spectrum and absorption line spectrum of hydrogen atom. But if this is the theory, that means if the electron is losing its energy continuously, the spectrum observed should be in the form of a band, not in the form of line. So that line spectrum of the elements were not explained by this Rutherford model. So that is the second drawback. And also it does not say anything about the arrangement of the electron in an atom. It just says that the electrons, they revolve around the nucleus in circular orbit. At which positions, in what way these orbits are, it is not mentioned by Rutherford model. So these are the drawbacks of Rutherford model of atom. So this particular diagram shows that idea which we said, the revolving electron continuously losing its energy, finally it will collapse to the positively charged nucleus. So that is the main drawback. That means Rutherford couldn't account for the stability of atom. With that, we conclude today's lesson. Thank you.